Hey, what's going on YouTube? Marine X back at it again. Okay, listen, I've done this video a couple times before, and every time I do it, people seem to get their panties all in a wad, all in a twist, and just kind of take things out of context. And let's just get straight to the facts. These are 10 items real man EDC to get shit done. So, all right. I've talked about this before. These are 10 items that I think that you should carry, whether it is primary, secondary, or tertiary, every day in some form or fashion if you're leaving your house, to be prepared for anything that may come your way. Now, if you don't carry some of this stuff, or if you don't want to carry some of this stuff, then, you know, I'm just a guy on the internet who really cares what I think. If you want to carry it on your person, if you want to carry it in a sling, if you want to carry it in a backpack, it does not really matter. But you know, if you're really trying to make stuff happen and move forward as you grow in your manhood, these are things that you think about acquiring to make stuff happen. All right, so the first one is a pocket knife. It doesn't have to be anything super, you know, stupendous. It can be a disposable blade. You know, if you want to carry something like this Gerber Pry Bread X, one of my favorite little pocket knives to have. This uses number 11 utility blades with the same thing as an X-Acto blade. Kind of gets the job done. Has a nail puller, bottle opener, slotted screwdriver, and of course it has the knife itself, which is time for me to change it out, but it's easy to swap these things out as you see fit. I think this thing is made of stainless steel, but it's very durable, very easy. At least I have something just in case I need it to open up boxes, to get stuff done, break down boxes. I think that a little bit better than that is a Milwaukee Fastback. There's all sorts of versions of these. They sell them online, they sell them at Home Depot, but these are just basically cutters, utility knives that are easily interchangeable. You just push this little button right here and you can change these things out with no issues whatsoever. And so you can swap it out. Matter of fact, it's about time to change mine out. But I like the Fastbacks because these are very forgiving. You can carry them as often as you want to, kind of keep one in your utility areas. And when it's closed, you can actually use it as a seatbelt cutter or a cutter while it's exposed. You can buy these with 1/4 bit drivers. There's a lot of different versions of the Milwaukee Fastback, a great option. But if you want something a little bit more durability wise, then in my opinion is you should go with G10 scales. I love my Carta. I love the way it looks. I love the way it functions. I'm kind of a fan of like forged carbon fiber, maybe not the regular carbon fiber, but plastic scales, Grivery scales, those are probably going to be okay. But I just feel like G10 scales, CNC machine G10 scales are very durable. Titanium in a lot of different scenarios feels like it can get sweaty in the hands. You can lose grip very easily, or it just seems to weigh down different pants or shorts that you're wearing more quickly than G10. Although in a lot of scenarios, titanium is lighter. You can carry something like the Wii Banter. You can go with the Wii Big Banter. You can go with the CVV Baby Banter. This is a more affordable option. Has a decent blade. It looks really good. It's a S35VN blade. It doesn't look super aggressive. So if you want to carry this in different scenarios, it does have a liner lock, which is not my favorite lock. Whatever you get though, just make sure that it's something that you can eventually work and learn how to use one-handed, because there's going to be times when you got your hands on a workpiece. You want to be able to keep your hands on that workpiece and continue to deploy your actual knife. You want something that's a little bit more lifelong. I had the TRM Shadow here, which is a CNC machined G10 scaled, beautiful knife. This is 20 CV, made in the USA knife here. Pricey boy, but this is kind of something that you get and it just kind of makes it happen. This kind of has a crossbar lock, which is probably my favorite lock next to a lock back, but it just makes it so that it's very easy to deploy, very easy to use. It's a very stable knife. I enjoy using this knife a ton, but whatever the case may be, you want to carry a pocket knife. You want a pocket knife on your person. It doesn't matter if you're in joggers, if you are in jeans, if you're in a suit headed to a funeral. A real man having knife, a way to open up stuff, a way as a simple defense mechanism, a way to get shit done. At a minimum, you can do stupid shit with a pocket knife. And even if you don't carry anything else on this list, which I think that a lot of things of this list are important, even if they're not on your person, at least carry a pocket knife. then we can definitely check the man box. The next thing is every day, whether it's on your body, which I don't particularly think this next item needs to be on your body. This could be in a tertiary or a primary or a secondary carry rather, but you need a way to start a fire. You need some type of light source, whether it's a traditional lighter. This is a butane lighter by Tisfa if you want to carry something like that, and just know how much fuel you have left on the side of this bad boy. Whatever the case may be, if you want to just carry some traditional matches and have those at the ready to use whenever you want to, or in a very simple scenario, in the bottom of my little cordage holder here, you can carry a big lighter. But whatever the case may be, you can be the hero at a kid's birthday party. I don't know how many times you've been to a kid's birthday party and everyone's looking for an effing lighter. You can be that guy. You can also be the guy that lights a lady's cigarette. I don't know who still smokes in 2023 and 2024, but you can be that guy. But more importantly, all jokes aside, being able to start a fire is a critical thing that might be important in any scenario. I've talked about this before. Recently on I-95, people were stuck for days inside of their vehicles. Even if you can light a 4-hour candle or a 4-day candle inside of the cabin of your vehicle and try to keep yourself warm, maybe you can do different things to try to keep yourself warm, but you need to be able to light that fire, and having that is the most simple way. Strikers and ferro rods, yeah, you can do all that trash, but a simple lighter is the way to go. Now, the next one here I think is a little bit more controversial. We're going to talk about a watch. Specifically, in my opinion, analog watches are best. Digital watches are god tier as well because they have super long battery lives, such as a Casio G-Shock. But smart watches, in my opinion, are for peasants. High value men at least own real watches. You don't have to wear them. I own a smart watch. Let's just put that out on the table. I own a TicWatch Pro, I think a 2020 or something like that. I wear it when I go rucking. I wear it when I cut the grass. I wear it when I want to see how many miles I've walked. That's about it. Other than that, I am an analog watch type of guy. This one here is the VAR. This is the Dirty Dozen field watch. This is a fantastic Swiss made watch. One of my favorite field watches. I own several field watches, whether it's by Ben Roos or it's by VAR. I even have simple stuff like by Michael Kors or Kenneth Cole or Hamilton. Just something that shows a little bit of sophistication. But not just that, you can use an analog watch for a couple of things. First off, this comes in handy in a survival situation. If you're in the Northern Hemisphere, you can use the big and small hands to actually navigate and figure out which way is north on an analog field watch, or any analog watch for that matter. You can break this and turn the glass on the front of the watch into a knife. Yes, it's a super small knife, but it comes in clutch in the scenario. Or don't even break the glass, just remove the glass if you're able to and use it to start a fire. All sorts of situations. If you carry a watch that has a leather strap, you can use it like a leather strap and actually put and hone an edge on a knife if you're in a survival situation. And then, of course, it tells time and date, and it's going to help you to know if you're in a situation where you need to bug out or get out the way. Or, you know, originally field watches were used in the trenches in the World Wars, and they eventually made their way to the Vietnam Wars, and they let officers know what time coordinated attacks were going to happen, when they needed to be in or out of trenches. These were super important. So if soldiers were using these in the trenches, I think that high value men should also have a watch as well. Own your smart watches, but at a minimum, own a real watch. Get off the peasant level. Come join that real man shit. Next on the list is some type of cordage. 550 cord is god tier. Nylon is okay as well, but just having some type of cordage comes in handy. You might have to tie down stuff in a pinch, have it for survival situations. You're at a soccer game trying to keep a tent from flying away. You're trying to make sure that the balloons don't go away at a birthday party. You're just trying to strap some stuff down in your truck. Cordage. I keep mine in this little cordage keeper here. This is a nice keeper because it does multiple functions. It keeps the paracord. It also cuts the paracord right here. And as I showed you guys earlier, you can keep a big lighter in the very bottom to burn the paracord. But even if you don't keep it in a nice tidy mechanism like this, keep some cords. I use a ton of 550 cord, more than I imagine, having kids, but being able to know that I can secure stuff, make stuff happen, temporary fixes to long-term problems, long-term fixes to temporary problems. 550 cords and cordage are important. This is not on my person. This isn't even in my secondary carry. This is normally in my truck, in the bed of my truck, maybe in a survival kit underneath my seat, but it's nearby, okay, every day. And of course, if I'm at home, I have tons of 550 cord at the ready. Cordage is a part of a real man's kit. Next on the list is the ability to gather and drink water. Of course, you should have water with you every single day, but in this case, I'm thinking about survival situations. If you're ever somewhere where you need to tap into the side of a building, if you're somewhere stuck for a while, you should have some type of water bottle with you. Even if it's the cheap 16-ounce water bottle you keep in the back of your truck, just in case. I recommend you get a Gray L water filtration bottle. These are pricey boys, but this allows for you to use this on all 7 continents in any water source. Scoop this in there and actually drink the water immediately. But these are pricey boys. And of course, you can just get the true tested Nalgene bottle made in the USA. So is the Gray L bottle. And you can get a 32-ounce mechanism. You get, I think, 12 ounces, 16 ounces. But of course, you know, Nalgene bottles have different ways you can use them in survival situations, use them with gas masks, etc., etc. Very sustainable, very way to not only pump back a bunch of water, but you should be that guy that has the ability to gather water. I've had to gather water in emergency situations on the side of the road. Somebody's radiator's overheating, walk to a creek that's nearby, scoop up some water, dump it in their radiator. If you're a real man, maybe freaking take a leak in the radiator. I don't know. But a water bottle is important. And if I see you with one of those Stanley cups, I'm slapping you on sight. All right, so this next one has to do with, in my opinion, something that should be nearby every day. And it has to do with a pen. Now, let's pick a random winner from the stuff that I actually use every day of this year. In the random comment is going to go to Jason Langlos 7906. I'm going to try to reach out to you on Instagram. If you're watching this video, send me an email. The email is in the description of this video. And speaking of that, you know, I think that it's very important to have a pen at the ready, whether it's a primary, which for me, it's a primary type of item, secondary or tertiary. You want to be able to sign a receipt without using one of those crusty ass pens that's been in a server's apron next to the straws that they haven't cleaned out in a couple of weeks, and they keep their cigarettes next to and they use them on smoke breaks. Yeah, you don't want to use one of those pens. You know, you want to try to make sure that you're using something to be able to sign receipts whenever needed, or for those occasions where you might want to leave a note on someone's car if they've done something such as, you know, maybe they left the back hatch of their vehicle open and you closed it, but you don't want them thinking you were still in their shit. Leave a quick note, sign some different stuff. I actually still write checks about twice a month. So having a nice pen, and I EDC, or I use my EDC journal every single day. So the pen that was just won by Jason was the Wingback. This is the stainless steel mechanical pen, which is a premium pen, a fantastic, I think it's a rollerball. I'm pretty sure of that, but a fantastic pen by Wingback. Comes with its own little sleeve, but this is a big pricey boy. You can get something a little bit cheaper than that. Go with like a Bastion pen. This one here is in a copper. It's already starting to patina. Get a nice panty dropper patina going on over here, looking really, really nice, but it still costs about $100. But if you want to go with something reliable, you can still go with a space pen by Fisher's. This is the 50th anniversary edition, the Apollo 11 edition. I still think this thing was less than like 20 bucks. I'll link it up down below. But a pen is super important. You don't even necessarily need to have a notepad. Maybe you won't use that every day, but a pen, that should be at least a part of your tertiary. It should be in the armrest of your vehicle, maybe in your bag. Use your own pen. Not if you're even a germaphobe, but just to make sure that you can take care of some shit. Have a pen at the ready. You never know. All right, so the next one can be a part of your secondary or your tertiary. For me personally, it's a part of two different scenarios. There's always a flashlight on my person, as long as I'm not like in basketball shorts or something like that. And then there's always a flashlight in my truck. I believe that a flashlight comes in handy. I'm going to show you what your phone light looks like when you're trying to find something or illuminate the side of a building. Then I'll just show you even with the cheapest flashlight option that I have here looks like. It can come in handy more often than you think. Be that guy that is able to illuminate the theater at a movie. I've talked about this before, making sure your spouse doesn't freaking bust her grape while she's walking up the stairs with her juju beads and popcorn and her big gulp of Dr. Pepper, because that might just mess up the opportunity to go 20 toes with her later on. You can also be that guy that finds stuff underneath the couch, finds stuff underneath the bed, illuminates different things inside the house. I use my flashlight multiple times a day. But what I really like to use mine for is to be able to do things like when I'm hunting, or if I'm in a dark space, if I'm rucking, I want to be able to illuminate a tree line. I want to be able to make sure that I'm safe. I give it to my daughter if she's going to be possibly coming home after the street lights come on. A flashlight comes in handy very, very quickly. Now, there's a couple of options that are some of my favorite. The first one here is the Nitecore EDC 27. This is a 3000 lumen max output turbo mode flashlight, and it has a maximum beam of 240 yards. This is one of those God tier type of flashlights. Has an OLED screen on it, works really well, has dual switches on the top, has a nice screen to let you know exactly how many lumens you're in. It works really, it even tells you how long the battery is going to last in the current mode that you're in. It's great. Only downfall about this, it does have a built-in battery. There's no way to attach it to your hat or anything like that because of the way the pocket clip is made. But, you know, other than that, lock this thing, keep it in your pocket. You're going to be ready to rock and roll. One of my second favorites here is the Phoenix PD25R. This is an 800 lumen turbo, 273 foot max throw. This has a further max throw than this Nitecore, which has more lumens. This little flashlight gets the job done. It is the best spot, like very small spotlight on a flashlight that I have for something that can fit in my pocket. I love the fact that it's made of a nice solid build. It has like that tactical jipping at the front if you need to use it for defense mechanisms. Fantastic flashlight. You can use it on the brim of your hat. But listen, if you don't want these type of flashlights, because neither one of these are my favorite AA or AAA only, you can always go with the Olight i5R. I don't normally suggest or recommend Olights for like a forever type of flashlight, because a lot of them tend to use Olight's proprietary charger, which I think sucks. But if you get the Olight i5R, sometimes different colors are available and are not, but they use a AA size rechargeable battery. So this one here is a 1420 milliamp hour battery, and it recharges with USB Type C. But even if you don't have the charger for this bad boy, you can just throw a AA battery in here and still use it. Now, if you want the max output of the Olight i5R, which is 350 lumens, you have to use the rechargeable battery. If you use a AA, I think it only can get like 180 lumens, and it has a 64 meter throw. So not as far, but still more powerful than your phone, still more accessible. You can still put this on your hat, use it in different ways. So a fantastic option for you. Flashlights, I think, are very important. I think you should get used to carrying them on your person. If you're not used to that, at least keep it in the armrest of your truck. At least keep it in a bag. Have a real flashlight to be able to inspect and see, hey, did you get in a fender bender? You want to be able to shine a light and see how much damage is there. You got a flashlight. You're trying to blind somebody if you're in a self-defense situation, or you want to help your neighbor out because they're using a weed whacker at 10:30 at night. You need to put a little strobe mode on their eyes. Have a flashlight. I think that real men like to keep a flashlight nearby, not just for emergency situations like a blackout, but for everyday uses as well. Now, the next one I don't need to show you because this should already be at the ready on the person, but a wallet and some cash. I don't care if it's your freaking Velcro wallet that you zip apart that you've had since you were back in the day with Transformers. I don't care if it's some high-end leather wallet, if it's something made of aluminum, if it's made of G10, whatever. You should have a wallet and some cash with you at all. They don't even have to be together. A lot of times my cash is rolled up in an emergency keychain system that I use by Wingback, but I carry all sorts of different wallets. But it's important that you guys have an actual way to carry the most important things with you. Here in the state of Texas, you still got to physically have a driver's license with you. You might want to have your medical insurance card. You might want to have your little Costco card with you. Have some real cash. Now, I know you freaking Tesla peasants use a card to get inside your vehicle. I still have to put a freaking key in the ignition of my truck and fire it up, but you still want to have a wallet and some cash with you for those emergency situations. I know there's Apple Pay, Samsung Pay, Google Pay. I use them all the time, but carry real cash with you for an emergency scenario. Now, the next one's a little bit more controversial, but a multi-tool. This doesn't necessarily need to be on your person every day, but you should have access to a multi-tool or a multi-tool type of item. A set of pliers, whether it's long nose, needle nose, you know, adjustable, whatever. You want some pliers to have with you at all times because you want to just be able to minimum to be able to tighten fasteners that are coming in loose at your house. If something's going on with your vehicle, you want access to a slotted screwdriver, to some Phillips. Having a multi-tool comes in clutch. Now, this doesn't have to be on my person every single day. I don't keep this in my pocket every day. If I'm feeling really handy, if I got a lot of shit to do around the house, multi-tool is going in the pocket. But it's normally somewhere nearby in a pouch, or it's somewhere nearby on my actual vehicle. My Leatherman juice is starting to get a little beat up. The actual scales are starting to come off, but you know, I still love it a lot. I have multiple use cases for a multi-tool. Now, you don't have to spend these type of bucks on it. You can get, I think WorkPro just came out with these new multi-tools that look fantastic, and I think they're sub $30. I definitely got to pick up some of those, but keep them on the handy, be able to fix those small tasks in life, and be able to keep your stuff running well. The last one just makes a whole lot of sense, and it is fidget toys. Thank me later. No, I'm just fucking with you. There's no way you need to have goddamn fidget toys a part of your EDC every single day. But I do believe you should have some type of way to keep a power source with you, because you're important to your loved ones. A battery bank, a MagSafe battery bank to go in the back of your phone, a regular battery bank, whatever. You should have a way to keep your loved ones in touch with you. I didn't think this was an important thing until 2023. This did not make my list last year. But there are times, me having 5 kids, me having a freaking fine ass wife, that I need to be available to my people. And my phone dying is just not a thing that can be okay unless I'm purposely hunting. I'm in a scenario where we know I'm unavailable or something like that. But other than that, it is not a thing that it's okay for my stuff to die. So you want to be able to keep your stuff up and running and ready to go as well. You also want to be able to use it. If you are the type of person that survives using tech type stuff, then you might want to get yourself a big power station, get yourself some solar panels, get yourself the ability to use all your tech stuff in a survival or bug out situation. And it's just very prudent to keep the power flowing, and you could be that dad or be that guy that keeps things up and going and running as well. There's things I did not mention on this list that I'm pretty sure you may think are super important. Pry bars and hanks and shit like that. None of that shit matters. I just told you the 10 things that matter. If you think I'm wrong, comment down below. Tell me to pound sand. If you think I'm right, tell me attaboy down below. I would love to know with your comments as well. If this is your first time stopping by, make sure you hit that subscribe button. I would love to have you a part of the battalion. If this is not your first time stopping by, thank you once again for watching me run my grape. For everyone else, we'll speak soon.